Welcome, namens. You can go ahead.
Hi everyone, I am Janella Roberts from Creative Technology and my colleague Elisha Preda also from Creative Technology and your issue will from Action Investor Game. We hebben een partnerschap met elkaar en vandaag zullen we het hebben over de rules in Suriname. We gaan het hebben over waarom zijn rules in Suriname en what's the impact, what's zo'n business directory answer of the economy in Suriname.
So, hi everyone. As you can see, this is our first edition of the Who's Who in Suriname Business Directory, and we had the launch on 27 January in Florida, and it was very successful. And we hebben dat zien aan de hand van het aantal bedrijven die in onze directory voorkomen, maar ook bedrijven die nu zo'n directory in handen willen hebben. En naast onze fysieke directory hebben we dus ook onze online database. Dus bedrijven die hierin voorkomen hebben automatisch een profiel in onze online database. Dus dat is de wholesaler.sr. En de distributie loopt ook goed, want we distribueren in Suriname, Guyana, Trinidad, maar ook in Amerika, in Houston, op de oil and gas summit. En om te beginnen met mijn eerste, with my first question, Mr. Vishnu. What is the goal van de Who's Who in Suriname Business Directory?
Thank you very much, Elisha. It's a pleasure joining you today. Ik ga het een beetje in het Nederlands en ook een beetje in het Engels vandaag mee vertellen. En ik zag dat je net die van Suriname bij je had, de eerste editie van Suriname. En deze was eigenlijk de eerste editie uit Guyana. En hij begon even zo groot als die van Suriname ook. En toen zijn we dan naar de tweede editie gegaan. Die werd dan ietsje groter. En we hebben ook gezien dat veel mensen echt ervan houden om te weten wat er allemaal in Guyana gebeurt. Dus veel van de grote projecten zitten dan op de Who's Who. Dit was de derde editie. En ik denk in Suriname zijn mensen heel bekend met de vierde editie. En we hebben net onze vijfde editie is gestuurd voor print. Gisteren hebben we de eerste samples binnen gehad. Dus die ziet er fantastisch eruit. Die informatie die erin zit is echt wat investeerders willen weten over Guyana. En dat is het doel. Er wordt zoveel gesproken over Guyana, zoveel gesproken over Suriname, dat iedereen in het buitenland wil weten wel wat gebeurt er. Er zijn heel wat investeerders die in het land binnen willen komen. Ik zag net op het nieuws dat er een beslissing is gemaakt om te beginnen met die investeringen in Suriname. Dus gefeliciteerd als Surinamers. But all across the world, people want to know a lot of information about what's happening in Guyana and in Suriname. So that is the main focus of the directory, to ensure that people get the information that they can use to make contact with companies, make contact with the individuals in the companies, and also in our own markets. We may have big foreign companies coming in and we don't know anything about them. We don't know how they started, we don't know any of their management. So the Who's Who bridges that gap, provides the information that people can use for decision making.
Next question. So how did this now players how do you think about it?
Well, we see the same thing in Guyana as well. Guyana is small, but I can tell you I've been in the business community for over 23 years. And I still don't know everyone. I don't think I even know 5% of the people. I don't know, Janelle, how much people do you know in Suriname? Do you know everyone in Suriname? Yeah, so if we think about it, that's not really true. Although we're small countries with small populations, it is very difficult for us to know everyone. So what we want to do is to make sure that we create a place where the people who really need to know each other are really in a position to get that information in a very concise way. So again, they say that we are small, they say that we're supposed to know each other, but I don't think that's the case. The last time around when last year when we set up our company in Suriname, I had to learn a lot of things from scratch as well. I had to rely on Anushka and your team as well to help us really understand how to do business in Suriname. I'm living right in Guyana, right next door. So there's a lot that we need to learn from each other.
Ja, maar ook om een kleine aanvulling op deze vraag te geven. Zoals u dat net hebt aangehaald, wij kennen ook niet iedereen hier in Suriname. Dus, en van bepaalde bedrijven die we misschien wel kennen, maar we hebben daar bijvoorbeeld geen de nodige informatie over. We weten niet waarover het bedrijf gaat, of we hebben geen contactgegevens waar we ze kunnen vinden, etc. Dus in zo'n directory kunnen we dan in één oogopslag dan alle informatie vinden. Dus het is handig dat bedrijven daar ook hierin voorkomen. Ja? Yeah. Okay. Additional next question. Wat is uw verwachting over bedrijven uit het buitenland? Is Suriname in trek bij bedrijven in het buitenland? Komen er veel buitenlanders? Kunt u ons daarover wat meer vertellen?
Yep, and one of the key things to remember is that we are having a discussion today about the who's who, what it means to Suriname, what it means to Guyana. And I do know that we had some background music playing before. So if anyone who was not able to hear us very clearly, we have been able to launch the first edition in Suriname. And Viraisha, if you can show the copy again of the Suriname edition. So that is the first edition. And I did demonstrate as well before the editions that we've had in Guyana today. So 4 editions in Guyana today, keeps growing. We have the 5th edition that is currently in production. We got the samples. It looks fantastic. Fantastic information that will be provided. We also covered in the discussion that the goal is really to make sure that we provide both Suriname and all the investors and businesses in both Suriname and the countries that are looking at coming into Suriname with the information they need, the contacts they need to be able to make quick connections. Because for a company to lose a month or a year or even a week looking for the right connections, it costs the company a lot of money. We also touched on the fact that, although these countries are small countries, we still don't know, even us living in Guyana and you living in Suriname, we still don't know everyone, and there's still so much more to learn. But what I do think is, especially what we've noticed in Guyana, Guyana is now, since 2015, the discovery was made. In 2019, we got to production. we have noticed that there are so many countries with a high level of interest in Guyana. First of all, out of the region, so Trinidad, Suriname, but then also the US and Canada and the UK. So we see the same thing happening for Suriname. Because we're in the same region and Suriname is also making discoveries and the economy is also poised for growth, all these countries are also very interested in Suriname, but they know a little bit less about Suriname. And in Suriname, the language is Dutch. A lot of the information that is being put out of Suriname is in Dutch. So one of the key things we've done through our collaboration for the Who's Who is that the entire Who's Who in Suriname is produced completely in English, because the countries that are looking for the information are looking for it in English. So I think now that we have had that and we can see the numbers on the website keep growing on a daily basis, we want to be in a position where they get the information they need and they reach out to the companies that they are most likely to collaborate with. And so I think there's going to be a lot of demand now, and I think even more in the years to come.
En wij waren dus ook aanwezig op verschillende events en summits in Suriname. En we hebben dus ook gevallen gehad waar bedrijven ons tegemoet zijn gekomen en naar contactgegevens van bepaalde bedrijven hebben gevraagd. Of ze hebben gevraagd welke bedrijf zich bezighoudt in welke sector. En zo'n directory is dus ook handig om zulke mensen uit het buitenland naartoe te verwijzen, zodat ze alle gegevens van zo'n bedrijf kunnen zien. Ja. Om te gaan naar de volgende vraag. Wat is het voordeel van zo'n bedrijf eigenlijk om voor te komen in zo'n directory? Want de meeste bedrijven hebben al een website. Waarom zouden ze dan nog moeten voorkomen op de who's-who.sr website?
Ja, I think het is heel belangrijk. Veel bedrijven hebben een website, maar ik heb gemerkt in Guyana en in Suriname, so I did notice in Guyana and in Suriname that most companies don't actually have a website strategy or a web strategy. Yes, someone told them they need a website, so they started off one. I've even seen cases in Guyana, Suriname, and across the world where people still have the 1999 or 1998 or 2002 website up and running today. I don't know how it still runs, but it's still there.
Yes.
And they don't generate leads. There's no easy way for people to express that they're interested, or the web form doesn't work. And all of that put aside, most companies are not actually focused on their search engine optimization. So although people may be searching for their type of service, their website is not coming up to the top of the list. And with the Who's Who, we have a complete online platform for the Who's Who as well. I'll do my best to demonstrate it to you here. But with that website, and what I'll do today is, I think we have both of the websites that we can run side by side. So thank you very much for that question. But what we do is that we have a high amount of information on the website, which makes, for those of you who are interested in this type of thing, I tend to love technology. But for those of you who are interested, we have a lot of backlinks. So what that means is that with all the companies that you see on the website, from VSH to Telesur, the Energy Conference, Republic Bank, so all these major companies, and even if we were to click on the entire list of companies, we will see that because all these companies are in one place, when someone searches for a company, they are able to then find them on the Who's Who, but then they also are able to see many of the other companies that participate. We have the very same thing with the Guyana edition. So anyone who's interested in learning more about Guyana as well, if they were to click on the website, they'll get the complete they'll get the complete PDF copy. So you can find this in the Guyana edition and the Suriname edition, and you're then able to see the many companies that are participating. Now, I mentioned just now that every single company has their platform, and if I just pick our company for example, then you're easily able to see the entire team that operates in the company, any announcements that were made, the services that the company offers, and any documents that the company has uploaded. Like in Guyana, being local content certified is a big deal. So any person who searches can quickly be able to see our local content certificate or ISO certificate, and they can also then quickly go to our website. So what we have found is many companies actually get a lot more traffic through the Who's Who outside of their own website. And the statistics don't lie. We have over 2 million impressions on the Guyana site. The Suriname site is in its first year, so it's rapidly growing. And we can see that the traffic is Monday to Friday. On the Saturday and Sunday, it drops because most business people are not searching for anything on the Saturday or Sunday. They are searching from Monday to Friday. So you can see how it peaks. And we can also see that most business people go on holiday in December. So we see that in December is the only period where it dropped significantly. So what this demonstrates is that the people who are really interested in the Who's Who are business people, and we can also see what people are looking for the most, what they're really searching for, and we can actually also see where the traffic is coming from. So we can see that, traffic out of the US, Trinidad, Canada, India, the UK, Suriname is even up there in the top 10 for Guyana. And we can see the volume of traffic. And, there is no website that I know of, unless it's a news website or so, that gets the amount of traffic that the Who's Who in Guyana and the Who's Who in Suriname get. So it's a long answer, but that answer is the reason why companies need to be in the Who's Who, both in the hard copy and also online, because it gives them all that traffic that we're pushing to their websites as well.
Yes, ook een kleine aanvulling te geven op Janelle vraag. Talking about the websites, like nowadays everything is online. You can do it online, and everything happens online. So people can see it actually as extra promotion for their companies. En dus je kan dan met 1 klik kan je dan online bedrijven vinden. We waren ook bijvoorbeeld op, zoals je net aangaf, op events. We waren op de Oil and Gas Summit, op de ICT Summit, op een Fest Event en ook op andere beurzen. En dus bedrijven kunnen dit zien als extra promotie voor hun. Ze hoeven dan dit niet extra te doen. Dus dat is de website en events. Oké, meneer Vishnu, volgende vraag. Als u terugkijkt op het succes van de eerste editie van de Directory in Suriname, welke impact heeft u nou waargenomen op de Surinaamse economie, met name in de aardolie, mijnbouw en landbouwsectoren?
Well, what we've seen is that a lot of international companies have been reaching out to Surinamese companies. We were getting inquiries on the website on a daily basis as well, asking for further contact, and in some cases we're even getting complaints that they're calling the numbers that are listed and not getting responses. So for the companies that are paying attention here as well, please make sure that your hotlines are answered in a way in which the person who they can communicate, but they can also get to the right person. So we know that the interaction is happening. We know that people have found other companies and that they are reaching out. Our job is to make sure that making the connection is easy. The responsibility of doing business with each other lies with the companies themselves. So we will continue to make sure that we make the connecting easy, the sharing of information very easy, and to also make sure that all the sectors, right? I know that the focus in Suriname and the focus in Guyana is heavily on the petroleum sector, but mining has been a big sector for both countries. But if you think about those two, they're extractive. They take out of the ground, they're not renewable. So what we also want to do is to make sure that the other sectors, such as agriculture, such as tourism, such as professional services, banking services, that all of those sectors, and in the Who's Who, we've covered 14 of those areas. We want to make sure that those sectors also receive their adequate amount of attention. because not all of us can be in oil and gas or in petroleum. Your company is in ICT, your company is in training. Without ICT, without training, there's a gap in the market. So we have to make sure that it's easy for all these sectors to have the right information, and also their companies that can offer those services in Suriname, that they're featured in those areas. So we've seen a massive impact. I'm sure that it will only grow in Suriname. I want to make sure that people there know that they need to get their companies featured, market your company. If you're not doing it with us, find a way to do it. I think we are the lowest cost way of getting all that coverage. But if you're not doing it with us, if you're not doing it with the who's who, find a way to make sure that your company stands out. So that's what I wanted to share on that.
Yes. Okay, the next question. Hoe kunnen bedrijven die voorkomen in de eerste editie, hoe kunnen ze groei en ontwikkeling erkennen in de tweede editie van de Who's Who in Suriname Business Directory?
Yeah, so the easiest way, de makkelijkste manier waarin zij kunnen zien dat er groei is eerst moeten ze zelf kijken wat er met hun eigen bedrijf gebeurt. So they first have to make sure that they're measuring the leads coming to them. So just like I just demonstrated to you on our website, and using our client relationship management software, we can see the amount of leads coming to our own company, because we advertise, we feature our company in the Who's Who as well. I know Creative Tech Hub is also featured in the Suriname edition. So first thing we want to know is how much more leads did we get by the website, by telephone calls, by people visiting our office. So to me, that is most important, that we actually know that we got more leads. And in some cases, we help companies set that up as well, to say, well, is your receptionist, when somebody calls in, does your receptionist ask, by the way, how did you get to know about us? So that they can make a list to know what is working, which marketing method is working, what is not working. With the Who's Who, it's easy. A lot of the older investors, 40 plus, the older people, not the younger people like yourself, they actually walk with the Who's Who. Like in Guyana, they walk around with the Who's Who when they go to their meetings to show them that they found them in the Who's Who. I don't know if that's already happening in Suriname, but we find that a lot in Guyana because we do so much distribution. It's in the hands of the right people. And then secondly as well, the number of companies that are being featured will just continue to increase and increase and increase. In Guyana, we're now over, I think we've got close to 200 pages, and then also the weight of the Who's Who in Guyana, it's almost 2 pounds, like one kilo. So it's getting that big, but it's a lot of information in there. It's packed with information. So I think those are the two ways companies have to measure it. They have to talk to their website developer, and to make sure the website developer allows them to see the traffic coming to their website. Their receptionist has to be helpful as well. And they have to track to see what's going on. And they will also see more and more companies being added to the Who's Who.
Yes. Next question. Wat zijn de belangrijke onderscheidende factoren van de Who's Who Suriname Business Directory vergeleken met andere advertentiebladen in Suriname?
Yeah, so I don't see the Who's Who as an advertentieblad. So I don't see the Who's Who as a place for, pure advertising. In many cases, advertising is to sell a product or sell a service. The Who's Who is meant to tell the story of the company. So, if you open the Who's Who, you'll see that they will talk about the history of the company, the vision of the company. They highlight their key team members. They talk about the services and who the services are meant to serve. So I see the Who's Who more as that source for telling the stories of the company. Because think about it, if you didn't know KFC existed, let's just pick on KFC. You didn't know KFC existed, and from one day to the other, you saw a bucket of KFC. You don't know what the brand is. You don't know the story of the KFC. and it doesn't mean anything to you. So you will basically just make a choice if I buy it or I don't buy it. But all of us have been told the story of KFC, of Colonel Sanders, and how he was, 60 or 70 years before his recipe took off. And then we heard about the 7 secret herbs and spices, right? So we heard that story, it resonated with us, we like it, and then we tried the product, and then we stay with the product. What the Who's Who does is it provides that avenue for companies, for organizations to tell their story, so we know a little bit more about them, right? So if you look at our profile, it will tell you where we started off as a coaching company. It will tell you how we pursued ISO 9001 certification, how we're listed as a university in Guyana, as an accredited educational institution, the amount of people that we serve. So you get to learn more about us. In most cases, we don't even ask you to buy anything from us. We just tell you we want to let you know what our story is. So I hope that helps to understand the difference. So we don't just want to sell you something. We want to educate you on who these organizations are.
Right, and also dus ook kijken naar onze Who's Business Directory. Het is heel erg aangenaam en aantrekkelijk. We hebben dus gebruik gemaakt van verschillende kleuren, wat het ook prettig maakt om erin te bladeren. Dat maakt zo'n Who's Business Directory ook unieker vergeleken met andere advertenties. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Vishnu, as you said, de vijfde editie van de Who's Business Directory in Guyana wordt dus binnenkort gelanceerd. Wat zijn de ontwikkelingen en trends die u daarbij heeft gezien?
Well, what we did see in Guyana, because of the amount of investors coming in. So in Guyana, in the past, we used to have 1 or 2 delegations per month. Then it went to weekly. Now it is several on a daily basis. So every single day, there are more and more investors coming in. And these investors want to know key information about the country. So one of the things that we have done is we've actually now, and you will also have it in your second edition, is a clear step-by-step way of how to start a business in Suriname. Which agencies to work with, how long does it take, what is the cost. We will also outline the investment program, the investment incentives that are in Suriname, so that investors can say, okay, wait, I can invest here, I can invest here. It was very difficult for me to understand the tax system in Suriname. It's a very fancy tax system. But what we'll do in the Who's Who is we will break it out into components so people can easily understand it. Because as a company, you want to do business, but you also want to know, well, how do I manage my taxes? How do I make? So what you've seen is a trend to, getting that intelligence that will allow for better decision making. And that is one of the things that we're going to be focused on. We've also seen in Guyana the construction industry massively grow. Even in the Who's Who, it's the biggest sector in the Who's Who, other than energy and professional services. But construction is really a major area that is growing. New construction technologies, new companies coming in. So I think that is something that Suriname also needs to look at. I saw you had your first edition of the Who's Who there, and I wanted to show you something. So this is the sample of the 5th edition of the Guyana Who's Who, and it's so this is just for the tracking and making sure that the quality is up to date. So imagine if it was this big, it will be much narrower when it's put together. But it's getting bigger and bigger. But we're making sure that the information in there is really going to help a lot of businesses in our countries.
Okay, meneer Vishnu, volgende vraag. I think you already answered this question a bit, but het is toch belangrijk voor bedrijven dat ze het weten. Hoe kunnen bedrijven in zowel Suriname als Guyana profiteren van economische kansen als ze gefeatured zijn in de Who's Suriname Business Directory?
So, let me see. Now, one of the key ways in which we do that is we do produce over 10,000 hard copies. And our job is to make sure that it is at every single business support organization. So to make sure that the ministries have it, that the chambers of commerce have it, all the private sector business support organizations, to make sure that it's in all the hotels, because we want to think about where do the investors go. So we make sure that it's at all the hotels, and then we also send it out of the country to the different consulates. Many of the foreign embassies in the country also receive the who's who on an ongoing basis, because they have a lot of their own people from their countries, investors from their countries coming in, and they want information. We can see online the amount of times it is viewed and in which country as well. So I believe that way, and then also all the exhibitions. I know in Suriname we participated in the energy conference in June. We will be there again next year, June. But in Guyana, we participate in every single expo that's here. For the region, we also participate in the major expos in Trinidad, for example, the Trade and Investment Convention. The Suriname and the Who's Who directories were really big hits there. And then because a lot of the interest in our countries is because of oil and gas, we also attend and exhibit at the Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, Texas. And one of the funniest things that happens there is, because the Who's Who is that heavy, we take about a couple hundred of each, and we give it to investors who will register with us to say that they want to do something in Guyana or Suriname. To those people, we give it. But I can tell you, everyone who comes to the booth, and I can't remember the number, if it's 30,000 visitors to the expo there, everybody wants a copy. So what we do is that we ask them to scan the QR code. So on the front of the Who's Who, we have the QR code, and the same thing will also be for Suriname, where they can easily get the soft copy. So we notice that when we are at the exhibitions, the amount of visits to the website goes up significantly. And again, if you as a company are listed in for example, insurance, right? Let's say you're an insurance company, and the companies coming in don't know all the insurance companies working in Suriname. They will just look for insurance. Then what happens is that your company and all your competitors pop up on the Who's Who. And then it's up to the investor to click on them and take a look at whose story they understand, who they resonate with, or in some cases, they have to reach out to all the insurance companies. Because especially the big companies, they have to make sure that they check everything that's in the market. So this is one way in which you benefit yourself. And also, don't be worried about competition. Not because, the people who have to buy will still look for what's available in the market. So I love that if anybody considers us competition, put us together with the competition and then choose. Yeah. It makes no sense I hide myself. And because people cannot find me or they cannot find my competitor, it means none of us are doing business. I want people to find me, my company. I want people to find all my competitors' companies, and then let them choose based on what they've learned about all of us. Yes. Because that way, for sure, somebody's going to do business. Right? And that is the goal. Let somebody do business. When a company does business, they pay their employees, they pay their taxes, they contribute to the country's development. So the faster we can make that happen, the better.
Yes. Today, the Total Energies made an important announcement about Block 58 in Suriname on their plans. How will non-oil and gas companies benefit from featuring in the Who's Who?
So when you have that, an announcement like that being done, that announcement for Guyana was made in 2017. And the way this works is that you will have what is called direct impact. Direct impact are the companies that actually work in the oil and gas sector. We usually refer them to as the operator, which in Suriname is Total. Then you have the tier 1 contractors. So these are the big ones that will pump out the oil and do the drilling and do the exporting. and do all the technology on the seafloor, those are referred to as tier 1 contractors. Then you have tier 2 contractors. Those are all the companies who are in logistics and staffing and a little bit removed from oil and gas, but still without them, you cannot operate. So that is tier 2 contractors. So that's direct impact. In Guyana, that applies to almost 1,000 companies and about 10,000 in total working in that industry. That's direct impact. Then you have indirect impact. Indirect impact is because there is so much happening in oil and gas, the hotels are filled, the taxis are filled, all the food places are filled. Everybody needs more insurance. More bank accounts will be opened, more cars will be sold, all the supermarkets are going to be busy. That is indirect impact. They're not directly working in oil and gas, but the whole economy starts buzzing and more money flows through the economy. And then the third way is called induced impact. So induced impact is within a year or 2 years, as the government starts receiving its share of revenue, they will be putting it into the budget for the different projects that have to be done in Suriname. Infrastructure, healthcare, education, electricity, so all those things is where the government will start taking some of this money to put it into those type of projects. And what that causes is that people who work in those fields, like they're building roads, now they have roads to build because there's money to build roads. Now there is better healthcare, more hospitals, more jobs for nurses and doctors, right? So that is induced impact. So these type of activities happen maybe once in a lifetime in a country. I think so many people from Suriname have left Suriname, right? Because they went to countries where those developments have happened. As a country, we now have an opportunity for this to happen in our own, in our own Suriname, in our own Guyana. So we do have to be ready to participate, right? We have to be ready to participate. So that's why I would strongly encourage organizations to make sure that they can be found. It makes no sense being the best kept secret. If you're the best kept secret, nobody will ever know what you could do for them. And again, we are doing it for ourselves. I promote Action Invest. You promote Creative Tech Hub Caribbean. The reason we promote our companies is because we can benefit a lot of people if they know that we exist, if they do business with us. But if we don't promote our companies, who's going to promote our companies for us? Well, the answer to that is the who's who, but only if you're in.
Okay, that's a lot, meneer Vishnu. In Suriname, in Suriname twijfelen heel wat bedrijven zich nog om zich te featuren in de Who's Who Business Directory. Wat voor advies of boodschap zou je dus aan zulke bedrijven willen geven die nog overwegen om zich te featuren in zo'n Business Directory?
All right, so I visit Suriname a lot, and I know that the economic situation is not fantastic.
Yes.
As of now, hopefully that changes from today. But however, every time when I visit Suriname and I have a lot of meetings and I have discussions, I always notice that people still go out, people still eat, people still drive their cars, people still do everything that they need to do. So to me, it looks like life as usual. And to be in the Who's Who costs about $1 per day, $1 per day. So that is 40 SRD per day, right? For like a quarter page. Like a whole page costs about $4 or $5 per day, right? 200 SRD per day. If someone is not willing to invest 40 Suriname dollars, $1, if somebody's not willing to go maybe do a full page and do like $5 on their company's future to make sure that their company gets seen in the hard copy and on the soft copy on the website, everybody who's searching, then I don't think we can do anything else for them if they're not willing to invest that in promoting their own company. What I do want to say with explaining this is that it's such a low cost investment. right? Because think about it, I did buy a Parvo beer, and the Parvo beer was $2, right? I don't know if that was a cheap one or if that was expensive, but that's like 2 days in the who's who. Right? So there are things that companies can do, and that's why I was saying companies need to take a look at what is working for them, because I'm sure they're doing other ways in promoting their company, but is it working? And the only way you will know is if you measure if that's working or test something new. And if you need any guidance on how to do the testing, they can schedule a call with one of our coaches or one of our trainers, and we can train your marketing team. We can train your sales team on how to measure what's working or what's not working. Because we don't want the promotion of our companies to be a guessing game, or let's put some money here or let's put some money there. It has to be very focused, and what we deliver is very focused, and the growth in Guyana and across the Caribbean is a testament to that. So that's, de companies who are still uncertain, de bedrijven die nog steeds twijfelen over wat ze moeten doen met hun investering. Als het nieuws van vandaag niet tot ze spreekt en als ze niet begrijpen hoe goedkoop het is te doen via de who's who, dan weet ik niet wat we gaan kunnen doen voor ze. Onze eigen bedrijven betalen ook om erin te zitten. Wij groeien ontzettend snel, omdat wij ook erin zitten. Dus ja, ik zou ze echt aanraden om het te testen. Test met iets kleiner. I usually recommend a half page or a full page. It gives you enough space to tell your story. But again, test us out and see what's possible. We already have the proof in Trinidad, we have the proof in Guyana, we have the proof across the Caribbean. And Suriname will grow, and we will make sure that we do our part to support that growth.
Oké. Ten afsluiting heb ik nog belangrijke informatie die ik wil meedelen aan bedrijven. Dus de sales loopt. We hebben de front cover, de front, back cover en de inside cover is al uitverkocht. Ook we hebben nog enkele, like 2 of 3 premium pages over en de full pages in de directory. Dus de deadline om te registreren is eind september. Dus zo bedrijven zich om zo snel mogelijk dat te doen als ze willen voorkomen in zo'n business directory. En om contact met ons te maken kan dat via onze e-mailadres hello@creativetechhub.online. En ook op de who'swho.sr website kunnen ze daar alle informatie dus uitgebreid vinden, want daar kan je onze media kit zien met de pakketten en de prijzen. En ze kunnen ook gelijk daar registreren, want er is een vorm daar aangemaakt. Dus ja.
Oké, dan zijn we dus aan het eind gekomen. Meneer Vishnu, ik wil u bedanken, maar ook u Raisha, voor jullie tijd en participatie, maar ook voor de mensen die meekijken. Wil ik jullie dus bedanken en we kijken uit naar de volgende editie.
Thank you very much for having me here today, and I trust I shared enough information. To anyone else who's watching, please make sure that you reach out to the team at Creative Tech Hub Caribbean. You can also reach out to the team here at Action Invest. And what we didn't talk about is our launch. So for all the companies who are featured in the 2024 edition, we will be having the launch in Paramaribo in January. It's a fantastic event. If you look through our Facebook pages, you will see photos of the last launch event in Guyana. It's also a massive event. We have our launch coming up in November. 500-600 businesses will be participating there. So for those, there are several companies from Suriname also advertising in Guyana, also really promoting their companies in Guyana. They will also be here at the launch. So if you want to make contact with any of them, just reach out and we'll provide you with those contacts so that you can learn about their experience. But thank you very much and have a fantastic day and keep promoting Suriname.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye. Oh, that's right.